Hey, I'm NichBoy and welcome to Pocket for Friday, the 6th of May. Today on the show, Nintendo don't want to know E3, blood doggies, and I have all of the answers to some of the questions. Alright, here's what's been making headlines, and firstly, Nintendo's E3 plans don't include a direct conference, or for that matter, anything other than The Legend of Zelda. In last month's financial meeting, the company revealed that the only playable game they would have on the E3 show floor would be the Wii U build of the upcoming Zelda title. Now the company has doubled down on the game and appear to be throwing away their familiar and often hilarious direct conference in favor of a Zelda-focused Nintendo Treehouse live stream. The stream will be on Twitch and YouTube and will give people the world's first in-depth look at the game. Next up, and the strong National Museum of Play in New York will be introducing 6 new titles to its Video Game Hall of Fame. There were 15 nominees this year, with each game being chosen with the guidance of an International Selection Advisory Committee. Of that list, the 6 standouts were Grand Theft Auto 3, The Legend of Zelda, The Oregon Trail, The Sims, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Space Invaders. Nominees which didn't make the cut can be resubmitted next year, so games such as Street Fighter 2 and Elite will get another crack at Hall of Fame glory in 12 months' time. Sea Hero Quest is the latest game you can play for science. Developed with support from University College London, the University of East Anglia, and the Alzheimer's Research Organisation, Sea Hero Quest is designed to collect data to help understand dementia. The game sees you navigate the oceans in a little tugboat chasing magical creatures. To quote the game's description, one of the first symptoms of dementia is a loss of navigational skills. Doctors cannot differentiate between getting lost caused by disease and getting lost caused by natural aging because a benchmark of normal does not exist. So basically, by testing the natural navigation skills of players, they can compile a database of normal navigational skill to compare against sufferers of dementia. According to the devs, just 2 minutes in the game generates the equivalent of 5 hours of lab-based research. It's a free download on iOS and Android, so do it. Next up, and Total War Warhammer will have official support for mods at launch. Creative Assembly announced overnight that the Steam Workshop will be active from day one for the strategy game. On top of this, the official assembly kit and database editor tools will launch with the game, allowing people to develop mods using the same tools the devs did. The studio had previously announced that they would not be supporting mods, but pressure from the internet can break even the strongest resolve. And Persona 5 finally has a release date! But in Japan. After a delay in September last year, developer Atlas has now revealed the high school RPG will be launching in Japan on PS3 and PS4 on the 15th of September this year. There's no official release date for Western audiences yet, but Atlas have a track record of taking between 6 and 9 months after the Japanese launch to get their games localized and released here in Australia. Boo! But nice if you're Japanese. Alright, now it's time for Thing of the Day. Bloodborne is a game full of disturbing creatures which will make your skin crawl, but none more so than Hellkite's husky cleric beast. Alright, it's time to ask some of those pockets, and our first ask comes in from Carly. Do you like to have physical copies of games, or are you okay with just downloading? Love me some CDs! Carly, I used to get physical copies of games. I used to be a hoarder of media. I loved DVDs and physical games and books and comic books, and I loved just watching collections grow. But at some point I realized I needed to stop collecting physical media because it became oppressive to my lifestyle. I needed to move into places that had spare rooms just to house my DVD collection. So now those 1,600 DVDs are just in 12 huge boxes in my garage, and I realized I just needed to stop buying physical media. And while my games collection never really reached that height, I stopped collecting physical games when I realized I never really went back to them. I rarely replay single-player games, and the games I play constantly are all online-only, digital-only titles anyway. We are lucky enough to live in an age now where every single game that comes out can also be bought digitally. This means they will, theoretically, be available forever digitally as well. And if in the future I feel the need to play something older, it will be super cheap to buy it just on Steam or whatever platform exists then to buy games from. And even if Steam went down tomorrow, people would find ways to keep those archives alive. For better or worse, the internet does mean we will never, ever lose any information. Our next question comes in from Janutty. Have any of you dudes been involved in game development in any way whatsoever? If so, extrapolate immediately. I have never made a video game, but one day in some capacity, I might be interested in doing that. However, we do have an amateur game developer in the room with us right now, Peter Burns. Peter, tell the people your story.
When I was in high school, I made 2 games in a computer science class, and they were side-scrollers, and I stole sprites from Super Star Wars. I feel bad about it, but the games were pretty fun, and I rescued Princess Leia in like an A-wing, I think. And it was a snow speeder.
Our next question comes in from Daniel Doe. Hey Nick, what games are you currently playing? At first, I was thinking, this is a silly question by a silly man. Daniel, you see all of the games I play all the time. But then I realized, no, there's actually a bunch of times that I play games and you don't see me do any of that. So there are the 2 standbys. Dota and Hearthstone, which are the games I will always fall back on. Although this week, Dota has taken a back seat because Whispers of the Old Gods has just taken up so much of my life. I have played stupid amounts of Hearthstone this week, and I will continue to do so this weekend. I will apologize to nobody, Daniel. I'm also about halfway through Dark Souls 3, and I'm really enjoying it, but I tend to turn it off every time I make it to the next bonfire, so it's taking me a long time. This weekend I'll be playing Battleborn with Barjo, Hex, Goose, and Hingers for Good Games Review. We'll be powering through some missions and the multiplayer, and I'm also still dipping into Enter the Gungeon, which I feel like is a palate cleanser game, an amuse-bouche, atwixt bouts of old gods and soul harvests. But in between all of that, this weekend I have plans to sink time into 2 games. Pocket Card Jockey by Game Freak on the 3DS, which is horse racing mixed with solitaire, and I'm pretty sure there's a copy of Uncharted 4 floating around the office that I'm gonna steal for the weekend. So that's my weekend plans. What about you guys? Our next question comes in from Mr. Tutu Bro. Hey NichBoy, I was wondering if you heard about the whole Tyler 1 ban situation in the LOL community and what your opinion is on people being purposefully toxic within communities as a form of entertainment. Is it right for Riot to ban such a content creator considering they are effectively censoring a form of entertainment? I think those people are assholes. What he was doing wasn't entertainment, it was just harassment. And there's someone on the other end of that verbal abuse. Sure, it might be a 30-year-old who mutes him and just sort of moves on with their life. Or it might be a 15-year-old kid who gets bullied every day at school and the game is his only refuge. So is it entertaining to think about that kid getting bullied? And I play many multiplayer games, and having someone deliberately throw the match for their own stupid amusement is the most frustrating thing imaginable. What gives him the right to ruin other people's enjoyment of something? And the people who watch him and encourage him are just as bad because they're endorsing his juvenile behavior. I don't understand the mentality of wanting to see someone be cruel and offensive. I'm glad he got permanently banned by Riot. Actually, I think it probably should have happened sooner. And it's not censorship. They're not saying he's not allowed to be an asshole. They're just denying him access to their product to make his content. Unfortunately, his ban from League of Legends has just led him to playing other games like Overwatch. And I hope Blizzard banned him from that as well. And once he's been banned from all multiplayer games, he can just load up a single player game and stew in his own bile and reflect on how desperately sad a person he must be on the inside. Our next question comes in from Mikey Miguel. Is there a question you've been secretly hoping someone will ask that hasn't been asked yet? If so, what is it? Yes, there is, Mikey Miguel. And you just asked it. I'm kidding, I'm not going to tell you what it is. None of you have asked it yet, and I consider you all disappointments for it. Our final question comes in from Trent Phillips. What books are you reading at the moment? Did you read Calamity by Bryan Sanderson? Because OMG, it was amazing. Trent, I have not read Calamity yet, but I own it and it's on the list. I love pretty much all of Brandon Sanderson's work. Mistborn, The Way of Kings, The Reckoners. The guy's a genius, and I read heaps. I love books, both written and audio, and right now I'm in the middle of 3. The Golem and the Genie by Helene Wecker, which is a gorgeous fantasy about 2 otherworldly outsiders living in New York in the early 20th century. The Beauty Myth by Naomi Wolf, which looks at society's obsession with appearance, particularly in women, and Capital in the 21st Century by Thomas Piketty, which is pretty much just an enormous economic essay on how the wealth gap is creating social instability. I tend to have a few books on the go at any one time. Because of the things I like to read, I need to have a few of them to bounce around depending on my mood. I like things that inform me, like Capital, things that challenge me, like The Beauty Myth, and things that delight me, like The Ginny. And after all that, I'll probably just read the 19th Jack Reacher novel, because sometimes you just need a badly written book about an ex-military hobo solving crimes. Say, Pete, that's an idea for your third book. I know it's an existing IP, but that didn't seem to stop you before. All right, that's it for today's episode of Pocket. My Pocketeers! Let us know in the comments what you're playing this weekend, and while you're on the internet, check out Good Game on Facebook, YouTube, and iView. Want to meet fellow Pocketeers? Then join the Pocketeers Facebook group and Steam group. You can follow Good Game on Twitter at Good Game TV, follow Pocket at NichBoy, at Pierre, at Gigi, at Monkey, and at Sam D. There are links to everything I just said in the description below. Today's Thing of the Day graphic was made by Tea and Biscuits. If you've made a thing, please send it in. Now remember to vote for your favorite Thing of the Day titles so far for this year. There's a link to the poll in the description. Voting closes midnight tonight. Then, starting on Monday, we'll be counting down backwards your top 10, with the number one airing in our 100th episode for the year. Until then, NichBoy out.